Let me ask you something right now. Do you know what separates a moment of passion that a man enjoys from a moment of intimacy that he never forgets? It's not just the chemistry. It's not just the moves. And it's definitely not about how wild or adventurous things get. The truth is, what makes you unforgettable to a man is not what you do with your body. It's what you whisper to his heart while you're with him. Because here's the thing, when a man is making love, he's in a rare space. That's the moment his guard is down. His ego isn't leading. His mind isn't busy with work or stress. He's vulnerable. And in that vulnerability, your words have the power to do something nothing else can. They can brand themselves into his memory. Think about it, every man can have sex, but not every man finds a woman who makes him feel truly desired, deeply appreciated, and emotionally safe while he's in bed with her. That's why the woman who knows what to say, not just what to do, becomes unforgettable. She's the one he thinks about when he's alone, the one who lingers in his thoughts, the one he compares everyone else to. And that's what today is about. I want to show you exactly what to say during those intimate moments, not generic lines, not cheesy bedroom talk, but 5 powerful things that make him feel like you're not just in his body, but in his heart and his mind. Because when you get this right, you're not just having sex, you're building a bond that no one else can compete with. So let's dive in. One of the biggest mistakes women make in intimacy is assuming that men already know how desirable they are, or that they don't need to hear it. You might think, well, he's a guy, he's confident, he doesn't need me to stroke his ego. But let me tell you something, no matter how confident a man seems, deep down he craves reassurance that he's desirable, that he's the one who excites you. Men may not always admit it, but they are incredibly vulnerable in bed. When he's with you in that moment, he wants to know that he's not just physically there, but that he's truly driving you wild. Imagine for a second how you would feel if you were completely vulnerable with someone, giving your body your energy, your passion, and they stayed silent. Maybe they were into it, maybe not, you wouldn't really know. That uncertainty would leave you feeling insecure, right? Men feel the same way. Even the most confident man on earth wants to know that he's hitting the right notes with you. And the way you let him know is through your words. Whispering things like, "You feel so good inside me. I can't get enough of you," or even just a breathless, "God, you turn me on so much," is like fuel to his soul. It tells him that you're not just allowing him to touch you, you're deeply affected by him. And here's why that's powerful. Men often grow up with the pressure to perform, to prove themselves, to be strong, to always deliver. In the bedroom, that pressure doesn't just vanish. If anything, it can be amplified. So when you tell him how much he excites you, you're cutting through that pressure. You're saying, "You don't need to prove anything to me. You already do it for me. You're already enough." And that builds a level of trust and closeness that makes sex not just pleasurable, but unforgettable. Think about the last time someone told you that you looked beautiful in a moment when you weren't expecting it. It hit differently, right? It stuck with you. The same happens for men when you verbalize your desire in the heat of intimacy. He might forget what lingerie you wore. He might forget the exact details of the night, but he will never forget how it felt to hear that he turns you on. Those words will replay in his head long after the moment has passed. And every time he thinks of you, he'll remember how desired you made him feel. Now, let's go deeper. When you give a man that kind of affirmation, you're also creating a positive feedback loop. The more he feels he excites you, the more confident he becomes, and the more effort he puts into pleasing you. It's like pouring gasoline on the fire of his passion for you. And here's the secret. Men don't just want to perform. They want to be your hero in those moments. When you tell him, "You drive me crazy," you're not just making him feel good physically. You're confirming to him that he's giving you an experience no one else can. That sense of uniqueness bonds him to you. But the beauty of this is that it doesn't have to be some long speech. It can be a few whispered words, a moan mixed with a phrase, even just his name followed by, "I love how you make me feel." Small, authentic words of affirmation can completely transform the way he experiences intimacy with you. And when you do it consistently, he begins to crave that emotional validation as much as the physical pleasure. That's when you stop being just a lover and you start being the woman he feels addicted to, because you're meeting both his physical and emotional needs in one of the most vulnerable spaces he has. So remember, don't underestimate the power of telling him how much he turns you on. It's not just about boosting his ego, it's about connecting with him on a level that most women never reach. And when you master that, you'll be the one he thinks about long after the lights are off and the moment has ended. Most people think intimacy is all about complementing the act. You feel so good, you're amazing in bed, and sure, those are powerful. But what really makes a man attached to you on a deeper level is when you go beyond praising what he does and start appreciating who he is. Because here's the truth. Every man wants to feel that he's more than just his performance. He wants to know that you see the man behind the moves, the man behind the body, the man behind the effort. Let me give you an example. A man might sleep with someone who tells him he's good in bed, and that'll make him feel confident in the moment. But when a woman leans in and whispers, "I love how safe I feel with you," or "I love how you make me feel cared for," that hits his heart in a way he didn't expect. That's no longer about the physical. It's about his essence, his character, the way he shows up as a man. And when you affirm that you're not just pleasing him, you're making him feel significant. And significance is one of the deepest male needs. Men want to know they matter. They want to know they're valued for who they are, not just what they provide. The bedroom is a powerful place to give him that reassurance, because in that moment, he's already vulnerable. He's opened himself up to you. And if you remind him that you see him, not just his performance, it leaves a permanent imprint on his soul. Think about it like this. Imagine someone loving you not just for how you look in a dress, but for your laugh, your energy, your kindness. That feels different, right? It makes you feel irreplaceable. When you appreciate who he is in the middle of intimacy, you're telling him he's irreplaceable to you, that it's not just his touch, it's his presence, his essence, his being that excites you. And that's the kind of appreciation that doesn't fade when the lights go out. Now, here's the magic. You don't need to make it complicated. You don't need to recite a love poem. A few simple words said with genuine emotion can change everything. Try whispering, "I love the way you look at me," or "I love how you hold me like I matter." These kinds of phrases reach straight into the part of him that longs to be valued beyond sex. And here's the kicker. Most men don't hear this. They hear they're sexy, they hear they're good in bed, but they rarely hear that they are deeply appreciated as a man. That's why when you do it, you stand out. And here's something important. When a man feels seen and appreciated, he becomes more emotionally invested. He stops seeing intimacy as just physical release, and he starts associating it with love, with connection with you. That's when sex turns into bonding. That's when he starts thinking, "I don't just want this experience, I want her, because she sees me in a way nobody else does." The reason this is so powerful is because men spend most of their lives in performance mode, at work, in their friendships, in society. They're judged on what they do. But in the bedroom, when you take the pressure off performance and instead affirm who he is, you give him a rare gift of space where he can feel worthy just for being himself. That's intoxicating, that's addictive, and that's what makes him not just desire you physically, but emotionally anchor to you. So don't just compliment his body or his skills. Look past the act and speak to the man, because when you make him feel appreciated for who he is while you're in his arms, you won't just touch his body, you'll own his heart and his mind. Here's something most people overlook when it comes to intimacy. The difference between being unforgettable and being forgettable often comes down to how personal you make it. Think about it. There are phrases that sound sexy, but they could be said to anyone. And then there are words that are so specific, so uniquely tailored to the person you're with, that they leave no doubt in his mind that you mean them only for him. That's the difference between generic and personal. And when it comes to capturing a man's heart and mind, personal always wins. Imagine this. You're with a man and you say something like, "You're so hot." Sure, that feels good to hear. But guess what? He's probably heard that before. It strokes the ego, but it doesn't stick. Now imagine instead you lean in and say, "I love the way you kiss me right here," or "No one touches me the way you do." Suddenly it's not just a compliment, it's a personal acknowledgement of him. He can't replace it because it's tied directly to what he does, who he is, and how he makes you feel. That's what leaves an imprint. Men secretly fear being replaceable. They don't always admit it, but it's there. When you give them compliments that could apply to anyone, it feeds that fear. But when you make it personal, when you tie your words to his unique way of loving you, he feels special. He feels like he's giving you something no one else can. And let me tell you, when a man feels irreplaceable, he attaches to you in ways he can't detach from later. This is why you don't need a script of sepsy lines to keep in your head. You just need to be present and notice him. Notice the little things he does that turn you on. The way he touches you, the way he looks at you, the way he makes you feel. Then speak it. It could be as simple as, I love how intense your eyes get when you look at me like that, or I get shivers every time your hand slides down my back like this. That's not just Donechi talk, it's connection talk. It's showing him that he's not generic to you. He's not just a man, he's your man. And here's why this matters so much. Men often live with the pressure of comparison. They wonder how they measure up to past lovers. To other men, they may never say it out loud, but it's in their heads. When you make your words personal, you erase those doubts. You tell him without saying it directly, you don't need to compete. You already have me in a way no one else does. That's unbelievably attractive to a man. It gives him security, confidence, and desire all at once. The beautiful part is that this doesn't just make him feel good in the moment, it makes him obsessed later. He'll replay your words in his head when he's alone. He'll think, she said, I do that her. She said, no one makes her feel that way. That replay becomes a loop, and that loop makes him crave you more and more. It's no longer just about sex. It's about the fact that with you, he feels uniquely powerful, uniquely wanted, uniquely special. So here's the secret. The more personal you make your words, the more permanent you become in his heart and his mind. Anyone can moan, anyone can say something generic, but when you call out his unique way of loving you, you create a memory he'll carry forever. And that's how you stop being moment and start being the woman he never forgets. One of the most powerful things you can ever do while making love to a man is to allow yourself to be vulnerable. I don't mean physically vulnerable. You're already giving him that by being intimate with him. I mean emotionally vulnerable. Because here's the truth. Men can have sex without it ever touching their emotions. But when you show him your softness, your openness, your real feelings in that intimate space, you transform sex into connection. And that's when you start owning not just his body, but his heart and his mind. Now, let me clear something up. Vulnerability doesn't mean over-explaining or giving a long speech in bed. It doesn't mean confessing your entire life story in the middle of intimacy. It means letting down your guard enough to show him how deeply you're feeling the moment. It could be as simple as whispering, "Oh, I love being this close to you," or "I feel so connected to you right now." Those phrases sound simple, but they're rare. Why? Because most people are scared to be that open. They don't want to risk saying something deep and not hearing it back. But here's the beautiful part. Vulnerability creates vulnerability. When you show your softness, it makes him drop his guard too. It invites him into a deeper layer of intimacy. A man might go into sex thinking it's purely physical, but the moment you open up with a phrase like, "I love that I can give myself to you like this," or "You make me feel so safe right now," you suddenly turn it into something far more meaningful. That's when he begins to associate intimacy with emotional safety, not just physical pleasure. Men rarely hear those kinds of words. They hear appreciation, they hear desire, but they don't often hear emotional honesty. That's why when you express vulnerability, it stands out. It makes him feel like he's not just having sex with you. He's sharing a private world with you, a space where both of you are fully exposed, not just physically, but emotionally. And that's intoxicating. Think about how it feels when someone tells you they feel safe with you, or that being close to you makes them happy. Doesn't that make you want to give even more of yourself? That's exactly how men feel. Your vulnerability doesn't make you weaker. It makes you magnetic. It shows him that he has access to a part of you that not everyone gets. And when a man feels like you've trusted him with that level of honesty, he treasures it, he protects it, and he clings to it. Now, you might wonder, what if I say something vulnerable and he doesn't respond the same way? That's okay. Vulnerability isn't about getting something back immediately. It's about creating space for connection. Often a man may not have the words in that moment, but he will feel it. And even if he doesn't say much, that feeling will stay with him. Later, when he thinks of you, he'll remember that softness, that moment of closeness, and it will pull him back toward you. Here's the truth. Most women try to stand out by being exciting, by being adventurous, by being the fantasy. But what really makes a man's heart attach is when you show him a side of yourself that no one else sees. Vulnerability is not about being perfect. It's about being real. And realness is rare. So the next time you're with him, Don't just tell him he's sexy. Don't just tell him how good he feels. Let him into your heart. Say something that shows him your openness, your trust, your emotional connection. Because when you do, you're not just giving him pleasure, you're giving him a piece of your soul. And that's the piece he'll never want to let go of. One of the most powerful ways to bind a man's heart to you during intimacy is by subtly painting the future with your words. Now, I don't mean dropping wedding hints or asking where the relationship is going in the middle of making love. That would kill the vibe instantly. What I mean is planting little seeds of permanence, little visions that make him connect the physical pleasure he feels with the idea of a deeper, lasting bond with you. When done right, it makes him not only enjoy the moment, but crave more of them for years to come. Think about it. During sex, a man is at his most open. His guard is down. His mind is quiet. His emotions are heightened. If in that exact space you whisper something like, "I never want this feeling to end," or "I love imagining more nights like this with you," you've just created an association between the joy he's experiencing now and the idea of a future with you. It's subtle, it's romantic, and it doesn't feel like pressure, it feels like possibility. And here's the secret, men. Don't usually get these kinds of messages in bed. Most of the time, intimacy stays in the realm of the physical. Compliments, desire, dirty talk. It all feels good, but it stays in the now. When you introduce even a hint of the future, you elevate the entire experience. You're not just saying, "I enjoy you tonight." You're saying, "I see myself enjoying you tomorrow, next week, and beyond." That makes him feel secure, desired, and wanted in a way that's incredibly rare. The reason this works is because men, just like women, want to feel that what they're experiencing is not temporary. Sure, he may never admit it, but deep down, he wants to believe that when he gives himself to someone, it means something. By painting the future lightly, not with pressure, but with warmth, you give him that sense of meaning. You tell him that you see more than just sex, you see connection. Memory is a continuation of what you share. Now, let me be clear, this doesn't mean overdoing it. You don't want to start describing wedding venues or talking about baby names. That's not painting the future. That's forcing the future. What works is staying in the emotional and sensual space, saying things like, "I can't wait to feel this again," or "I love knowing I'll get to wake up next to you tomorrow," adds just enough vision without making it heavy. It's playful, it's loving, and it feels like an invitation instead of an obligation. And here's the beautiful part: when you do this, you create a loop in his mind. After the moment ends, he won't just remember the physical pleasure, he'll remember the way you made him feel about the future. He'll start imagining more moments with you. He'll begin connecting the idea of intimacy, not just to passion, but to partnership. And that's when you move from being someone he sleeps with to someone he builds with. When you give him that glimpse of tomorrow in the middle of today, you're making him see sex not as a one-time thrill, but as a thread in a bigger story, the story of you and him. And stories are what men get attached to. It's not just about the physical release, it's about the meaning, the narrative, the sense that there's something more to look forward to. So remember, painting the future doesn't have to be grand or overwhelming. It can be one soft phrase, one whispered promise of more. And when you do that, you're not just deepening the intimacy in that moment, you're locking yourself into his heart and his mind for the long run. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Making love isn't just about the physical. It's about the words you choose, the emotions you share, and the way you connect in those vulnerable moments. Any woman can turn a man on with her body, but it takes a rare woman to own his heart and mind with her presence, her voice, and her ability to speak to his soul. When you tell him how much he excites you, you fuel his confidence. When you appreciate who he is, you make him feel valued. When you make it personal, you show him he's irreplaceable. When you express vulnerability, you invite him into your heart. And when you paint the future, you give him something to hold on to long after the moment has passed. Those 5 things may sound simple, but trust me, they're unforgettable. They're the difference between being a fleeting memory and becoming the woman he thinks about over and over again. Because men may forget what you wore. They may forget the exact details of the night, but they never forget how you made them feel in their most intimate moments. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you're with the man you care about, don't hold back. Don't just focus on your moves, focus on your words. Because if you can combine passion with affirmation, desire with vulnerability and intimacy with vision, you'll not only capture his body, you'll own his heart and his mind. And if this resonated with you, if you're ready to go even deeper into understanding how men think and what truly makes them commit, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it. Your love life will thank you.